Hey everyone. I am now starting I did an unboxing of this, of the BT1 belt tensioner. Um, and now I think I've got all the parts I need to actually do the install. It doesn't come with a belt, so I picked up a Say belt from OG Racing. So some Black Friday deal. So that is here now. Comes with these eye bolts, but they're much too large. So I had to pick up some of these from Amazon. These guys. So these are the M8 version, and you can tell they're much smaller than the ones that came with the belts. So, and of course, M8 T-nuts, a bunch of those, and then button head screws, because I'm going to be using these parts over here. Now the reason I'm doing that is because if you look at the seat, see the angle there? So I'm actually going to mount it down here, and then it's got quite an angle, so I'd have to go like this, and I would rub against the seat, and I'd have to elevate this, even though I don't have motion. So I have motion, I'd want to put the pieces there, but I don't have that yet, so I either have to get legs and propped it up, but I'd still have the issue with here, so I decided to build a tower. So so here's the upright pieces, all the gussets. I wanted to use the button heads because I did run into issues with the ASR gussets, where I was using like the regular cap head, and so but the button head worked pretty well, so they don't like bump into each other when you're putting those in. So that helps out there. So these are the uprights. These will be the cross members. For the bottom one, I want to be more sturdy, so I did a I think that, what is that, a 30, and then the 15 for the 15 by 15 for the top one, where I'll have actual rollers up here. So I'm gonna mount some 3D print some rollers up there and mount that. So I might have to acquire some bolt of some sort, because I may not want to 3D print everything there, because you probably need at least the the shaft that goes through the actual roller to be pretty solid. So anyways, those are all the parts. Next I'll mount this stuff up, and then we can see how that looks. All right, just got my profiles all aligned and set up. I printed 3D printed these caps. I remixed it from someone else that had an 80/40, and I also made a 15/15. So I've got 15/30 and then 15/15 caps. Had to put a little tab in there to keep it from moving back and forth. So that worked out. Just loaded in Fusion, did all those edits on that side too. So I really liked how these didn't look so plain. You actually get to see the extrusion. So without seeing the edge, or just rounding the edges a bit. So that's pretty cool. I'll mount the device here, and then I'll mount the rollers on this guy to go right through the seat right there. So I can adjust this up and down, depending on the length of the belts and stuff like that. So next step, I'll mount the device, and then we can see how far that hangs up. All right, now I have it installed on the profiles. I torqued it down best I could. Some of it would feel, because it's hard to get to these bolts back here with a torque wrench. So I said torque it to a certain amount of pounds, so I torqued the bottom ones that I can get access to, and then kind of just did feel with a wrench, but close face wrench. So that should work out. I'll get the belts next, have her all hooked up. Okay. I finally built out, or assembled and built installation for the Qubic unit. And there's the back of it. and I said I was going to mount some rollers. In a video, I'll show how I made these, but they're all 3D printed. I actually remixed, a pattern that actually mounted up against a Sparco seat. I actually didn't want that because of this angle. So I may have gotten away with it, sort of thing, or made other rollers and just done away with this, but I didn't want it sitting on the ground and I didn't want to put any feet on it. So, so I made these rollers here, and I'll just go over. And I did get away with PLA on these. There's a 100mm bolt that goes through, M8 bolt, it goes through the middle. To modify the rollers a little bit, because there's a lot of tension here, but these roll very nicely. And they're using skateboard bearings, wheel bearings on the edge right there. So that seems to work out pretty well. I was surprised that the PLA was strong enough for that, but so far, not so bad. I've been turning it down just because, other reviews I saw that it was very, very strong. And almost less is more. Depends if it's already kind of got some tension on it. It's nice to have a little more pull. So I'm tweaking those settings, but overall very immersive. Definitely feeling things that I would have normally felt with just the bass shakers. Because like when the bass shakers would break, like there is like a deceleration vibration, but it's not nearly the same. It's very nice. So I originally had these belts here. There's actually a mounting hole there. There's one of my bass shakers down there. I originally had that there, but I am not that small for that pad. And probably most people aren't. So, it was pretty immersive having that tight, but it was just too much for me down there. So, I just have them mounted there, and then go over the seats. I saw the videos where people had it mounted that way. So as long as you have these lap belts tight enough, then it's not just pulling on your shoulders. It actually pull against your body, so make sure that those all tightened up properly. Felt very immersive when it was wrapped around like that, but it was just too tight down there. So I would probably have to buy a different seat, to fix that issue if I wanted to do that again. But as long as these lap belts are tight, this is really, like in the recommendations I've seen, we want to keep this just to keep these belts from moving up and down, so that does work out just fine, so I don't have to replace my seat at this moment in time. But yeah, it worked out pretty well. This is pretty solid. The tower's pretty solid. To make it more solid, we could add, a plate on the side here, kind of similar to what Advanced Sim Racing did over there. But this is solid enough for what we need here, for the forces that are going to go through there. It's a very strong motor, so if I cranked it all the way up, I'm not sure what happened to these rollers, but so far working out. All right, one last thing for the install. I'd like to cover some gaps that could be improvements on the product. In the unboxing, I showed that I got the newer power supply. What's nice about this one is there's no fan on it, so it doesn't have that noise. But one issue is that it has no power switch now, so you can't plug it on and off, and that's why I have it disconnected here. So recommendation in the manual is either put it on a switch, like a power strip, or a smart plug. I'm researching to get a smart plug and kind of set up that kind of automation. So hopefully I can have the PC actually turn it on automatically when I boot up or launch an app, some sort of macro. So that is that bit. The second thing is there's this little jumper here, so that comes with it, but that's for the e-stop. I don't have an e-stop switch, and it doesn't come with one. You can buy it separately, but something like this would feel like, especially at this price point, I feel like, hey, you'd want to have that e-stop. So that's another thing I'll have to figure out. The similar thing happens on my VRS wheelbase. You know, like that thing can go crazy and it'll keep going crazy until I jump out of the rig, or you know, pull power, so, or the jumper out of the back, you know, sort of thing. So that is a similar problem. So I'd like an e-stop to link all the three together. So that's one thing I'll have to figure out. But those two things are kind of the to-dos. So that would be kind of like the next steps, you know. Okay. So some of the next videos you'll be seeing is actual demo. So I'll demo kind of like the action in the back, how it pulls on the belts from the front. You know, so you should see those pulleys moving, and then the belts tightening here, you know, and how that works. So, yep. So that'll be the meat and potatoes there. Okay.